Hello, hello. This is Jen. I hope everybody's good. I'm here with an energy update. So welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new. Thank you for being here. So let's get into it. What's today's date? February 3rd. So very early in the month and lots of things happening once again. And there's a lot of new things on the horizons, starting with new relationships. I was getting that information right before the holidays, how there would be a shift in relationships, and relationships in all sense of the word: friendships, business relationship, romantic relationship. And that's probably why I started channeling new information about twin flames, because really the twin flame concept as we know it is no longer relevant. And it's not the first time I'm getting this message. I was just, before starting to record this, I was channeling the energy for the month and tapping into the collective and what's going on. And again, it came up, the concept as we know it is no longer relevant. So I translate that into, we need to get ready to make new heart-based connection that resembles what the twin flame concept is. Doesn't mean that everybody's a twin flame or has a twin flame. It's like a lot of people say, it's a template that we carry. It's a mission that we chose before coming here. And our goal is to embody that mission. But it also means that a lot of people will start looking at the relationship in order to create new ones on stronger foundations or different foundations than they're used to. New relationship to build something different, which is the new earth, the new way of living. It is also a type of relationship where people are free. And that's a big piece. People being free, especially during what's going on right now. Everybody's dreaming about freedom. Especially us here in Quebec, where we have a curfew at 8 p.m. and people are starting to find it very difficult to deal with good reasons. But yeah, that concept, the twin flame concept, I still need to channel more information on that to figure out what happened to a lot of people that were on a path, and all of a sudden it seems like that timeline has changed. It has for many people. And I think it was in my last video that I mentioned that we are looking at new possibilities, 3 different kind of timelines. That's what happened to a lot of people, or that's what's about to happen to a lot of people. And I just want to bring this out there, that what I channeled when it comes to that is, it was planned out this way so that we can do the work, so that we can understand how these dynamics work, so that we could meet someone to reflect the work that needed to be done. And what comes after is a totally different game. Those new relationships being built right now and coming in the near future are very, very different. The vibe, the way people interact with one another is totally different. So different that it's a little bit difficult to integrate, because it flows super smooth and very easily with some people that are on the same, timeline as us, but it becomes very difficult to deal with other people. The duality is progressing during February. progressing to change into better understanding of what's going on globally, to better understanding of what's going on in the collective, therefore in people's consciousness. Everybody's being upgraded, everybody's being worked on all the time, but this change is really, I want to say drastic, because a lot of people are not used to that. They're not used to being in such a high vibration that it can be hard to sustain for some people. And that's okay. Things will fall into place as they're supposed to. But when it comes to twin flame, what I channel once again is that it was meant to happen this way so that we can do the work. So if you're feeling guilty or bad because you've had no contact with your twin, try to find a way to make peace with that and to surrender to what is, because it is what it is at the end of the day. And someone else is going to walk into your life and you won't believe that this person exists. Somebody else is going to walk into your life and you're going to be like, okay, what happened to me? What was that before? Was that really my twin flame or just a catalyst? And in some cases, it was a catalyst. In some cases, it was a twin flame. It depends. But definitely the story is changing. Those teachings that a lot of people have been following from different people, different teachers, are no longer relevant. It's a different timeline, and this timeline is super, super fast, extremely fast. The amount of energy that is being moved in just one day for some people is just tremendous. It's never seen before. Even for those that are like seasoned, that are used to it, or that have been at it for quite some time, are like, what's happening? What is this pressure that I'm feeling? Because it does feel like a pressure. It feels like pressure mixed with motivation of moving forward. Pressure mixed with motivation and the will to do things differently, to get along, to move forward, to get things done. And even though you may be physically tired, you still have the will to continue, to keep at it. So it's creating all kinds of mixed energy while we're gently and slowly releasing the past. So at this point, a lot of people are starting to feel what looks like grieving, or they're about to start feeling that, and just know that it's grieving of what life used to be before. It will never be the same. We can't go back in time. We've been working at this new earth thing for so long now that we're starting to see the physical manifestations of all the spiritual work that has been done. And talking about manifestation, what came up for February is super manifestation, like quick speed. You think about something and it manifests very quickly. You envision something and all of a sudden you're right in it. So when it comes to meditation, when it comes to asking the universe, or when it comes to your own personal manifestation, be careful. Choose wisely the words that you use. Make sure that your request is very clear. Stay away from the negative words as I don't want this. Switch it around to the positive way of saying it. I want this. I want a new job with this. I want a new relationship with this. And if there's no way of twisting that sentence into a more positive way of saying it, use neutral words like without. The brain does not understand I do not want. The brain does not understand negative words. It understands the opposite. So it will manifest the opposite. So let's make sure that we always stay on the positive side. And as always, when you put in your request in the universe, you ask for it for the highest good of all, your highest good, and you detach from it. You let it come to you. The more you can detach and put space between your request and you waiting for it to see it happen, the faster it's going to come with you. Because if you don't make that space available, it has nowhere to be. The universe won't know where to deliver it. So it may deliver it, but like in a different aspect of your life, and you won't understand why your manifestations are not what you're asking for. So pay very, very close attention to the words that you use. A lot of people are currently going through some difficulties for this transition because, like I mentioned, we're moving very large amounts of energy. The ley lines of the earth are actually being recalibrated at this point. And for those who don't know, the ley lines are the energy points and center in the earth where the energy travels, where the earth holds on to its own vibration, and it's like a grid. And they're being recalibrated because for such a long time they have been hijacked by many different things, many different things, like entities, ego coming from humans and stuff like that. And now the earth is recalibrating. And the fact that it is going through that transition right now is a validation that a lot of spiritual work has been done. A lot of consciousness has been changed. A lot of people have been working on awakening or are about to start their own awakening journey. It's a very positive sign because we're going in the right direction. Like collectively, there's so many people working in the background, spiritually meditating. And I'm not necessarily referring to Shaolin monks, for example, but everyday people, because the monks have been at it for many years. And now we're seeing this movement where collectively people are changing their values, their consciousness, and they're rising up in the ladder, they're going up. And all of this amongst the chaos that we still see in the world. From the darkness is born the light, right? So it needs to start somewhere, and that chaos is also a sign of things changing. So if we hold on to fear during that transition, we will manifest fear. We need to be faithful, hopeful, positive. We need to fall in love with our future. Especially if you're having a hard time dealing with your own life and your own self because of those symptoms that you're feeling, physical symptoms, like we're being upgraded very rapidly these days. So it does affect the nervous system a lot, which can come up as feelings of anxiety, feeling of being restless, feelings of not knowing what you want. And whenever that happens, the best thing to do is to ground yourself and to stay sturdy and to hold on, to fall in love with your future, to work on your future mentally, spiritually, to envision it and really fall in love with it, because it's the key ingredient in it is the love. The key ingredient actually in everything, we all know, it's love. But especially when we try to manifest something, and especially in those times where we feel in between two things, we feel like we're not totally done with the past because we still see remains showing up. But rest assured, when they show up, it's for you to release them once and for all, or for you to transform them, to heal them, to work with them and decide, do I keep that or not? Those decisions are not always easy to make, and sometimes they're already made before they show up in our lives. It's just the universe saying, you know what, say goodbye to this because it's not coming back. It's a little bit more difficult when it comes to relationships and when it comes to letting go of some people. But it's kind of necessary, because when we feel that people are holding us down and when there's too much friction in relationships, they cannot be sustained with the new energies coming. The universe will take them away anyway. So might as well do it consciously. It hurts less, and it's a way of saying, yes, I'm ready for what's next. I'm ready to welcome what's next. And in order to see what's next, you need to create it before. Oh my God, that was so difficult. Sorry. You need to create it before. You need to see it. You need to feel it. Your body needs to feel it. Your body needs to feel those signals that it's coming. So that way, when it's coming, you're ready. And you can't go wrong, really. So having a vision of what we want is really important, of what we desire, of what, not what we need, because when we say, I need something, that usually signals that we're in lack, and that may show up in our manifestation. But when we say, I want this, I am this, and we align to it, we're going to get it. It's only a matter of time before it shows up. If I go back to the ley lines being recalibrated, that can create some grounding difficulties for some people, having problems staying grounded or grounding yourself, because you're trying to ground yourself to new energies. And I'm sure that if we check the human resonances, we probably are witnessing a lot of changes or high peaks in those energies or vibrations, I should say. So when we have difficulty grounding, we need to find new tools to help us achieve that. In my case, it's breathing and using visions, changing the recipe that I usually use, shifting things around a little bit so that my outer life can reflect my inner life, so that they can be in harmony in between those two. Because it's very difficult to live in a way that internally you feel one way, but externally it's not the same thing. There's a huge gap there, and that gap needs to be worked on to be completely erased so that you are 100% aligned on your path. So when that happens to me, the grounding stuff, I spend more time in nature. If you have an animal, connect with your animal more, because they stay grounded a lot more than us humans. Try to change the way you do it. It could be very simple, something very small, a small change. It could be in the way that you say things, or in the way that you do things, or in the order that you do things. But nature is a very great ally for us to ground, especially if you're highly sensitive, especially during these times, because there's, like I said, such a large amount of energy moving through us. It's unbelievable, truly unbelievable. What I'm noticing also, I started noticing that a few weeks ago, and it came up while I was channeling earlier. The newborns, the babies that are being born, They come to this earth with tremendous powers and gifts. I've been working with babies lately, doing energy work, energy healing, and all the babies I've been working with and young kids were highly, highly sensitive, highly intelligent. Like, it almost felt like they were coming from a different planet or universe. So it's right in line with what a lot of people have been talking about when it comes to indigos, crystal babies. So these babies are like crystal babies, like they're born knowing that they have spiritual gifts already. Of course, they don't know that consciously, physically, because they're still babies, but it's all in there. It's all already awakened, as opposed to older people, no matter what the generation, but older people where all the density needed to be cleared out to bring those gifts up to their awareness and for them to start working with them and using them in their lives. Those new babies don't need to do that. It's already there. They already know what to do. And as they grow up, they're going to use these tools. And they're going to have a very different story than a lot of people. It's not going to be about, you're not supposed to do that. It's not going to be about the forgotten knowledge that so many people are working super hard to bring back. It's only going to be about expressing themselves. I'm seeing in those babies that a lot of them came to help with this transition of the new earth. So if they're being born right now, imagine what life is going to be 10 and 20 years from now when these kids are grown, fully functional in their gifts. It's going to be truly amazing. So that's what we're looking at as a collective. I've also been noticing in a lot of people that I've been talking to, working with, doing energy healing on, is the sacral chakra, especially the one that we have in the front. A lot of people are having an upgrade there in the sacral chakra that can translate into the chakra looking like it's not even there. If you do energy work, you may know what I'm talking about. Like when you connect to someone's energy and you start doing the work and the healing, you clearly see the chakras, you clearly see the nervous system, and you know what's going on internally with that person. You know what's going on with, behind the veil, with what our eyes cannot see. And it seemed to be like a major trend these days that this sacral chakra is being reborn. And I don't remember ever seeing that before. I remember seeing upgrades, seeing, changes, but not rebirth of an energy center like that. The way I see this is it's all in line with what's coming. So that's why the chakra looks like it's not even there. There's part to this that is not meant for us to know at this point, but in due time, in the near future. Otherwise, a lot of people would probably freak out because they probably would feel like, I'm unprepared for this, I'm not ready for this, I can't believe this, and it would add like pressure on them or anxiety, as opposed to just living and being ourselves. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. That can look like in people, like physically, it can look like people are bloated in their stomach. That's because there's so much energy being exchanged in that area of the body, but in that specific energy center. There's also a huge trend. It always been there, but like it's even more important now to speak our truth, There is no more time to be asking ourselves, should I say this? Should I say how I feel? Should I say what I'm seeing? Should I say what I'm thinking about? There's no more time for this. A lot of people have made the switch of, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth, and people are going to have to deal with it if they're not happy with what they're hearing. Of course, that's not always easy, because sometimes when we say our truth, people are not ready to hear it, and it can create tension. It can create resistance between different people. Rest assured that all of this is going to recalibrate or harmonize on its own in due time. If it happens to me on a daily basis now, that I trigger people so much with what I'm saying, and I'm not even talking about spiritual stuff, just the way I say things. They get triggered, they get, like nervous because it's touching something sensitive inside of them. But I don't worry about this, because it is meant to happen this way. If it does happen, it was meant to happen this way. These people were meant to cross our path so that they can be either pushed or awakened or triggered, so that they can move on to their next level. So speaking our truth in a loving manner with compassion and gratitude is what's coming up for a lot of people, especially in February. And yes, there's Valentine's Day, but who cares about this holiday? Sorry, I don't want to be offending anyone, but to me, it's just a commercial holiday, because celebrating love should be a daily thing and not a yearly thing, but that's only my opinion here. But yeah, these triggers, these relationship changing, ending for a lot of people, are on the menu for the upcoming months. And it is to make space for what's coming, the new relationships. And if we put that together, the new relationship with what I was saying in my last video, that was about heart-based everything, put the two together, and what do we have? A twin flame kind of energy. What I'm seeing when it comes to that is a lot of people will awaken to the twin flame energy, will awaken to the fact that perhaps they're realizing that who they thought was their twin flame is totally not. They will wake up and awaken to something different, a deeper layer of that energetic dynamic or energetic template. And like I mentioned, whoever was awakened to the twin flame concept before, a few years ago, and is now wondering what happened, that's what happened. It was supposed to happen this way. You were supposed to meet that person who awakened you, helped you heal, walk on your path with you for some time, and you weren't meant to know the rest or what was coming at that time, because it would have kept you from living what you were supposed to live, from going through what you were supposed to go through, from being you, basically. So these are lessons, and if their lessons are learned, you're going to receive something else. You're going to receive another twin flame, or you're going to receive your real twin flame, or you're going to receive another kind of divine partner, because that's collectively what we're looking at, divine partnerships. Unfortunately, a lot of people will go through breakups, divorces, relationship ending because they're realizing that that's not what they want, or they're not with the right person for them, or that they outgrew their relationship, and that's for them to meet their right divine partnership. And for those who have been doing the work, you probably already met that divine partner, or you're about to, and it's coming. And it's very surprising when it shows up in your life, just like when you thought you met your twin flame. Very surprising. It could be very confusing, but it was all in the works, in the background. I haven't seen someone telling me, I saw this coming. It's the opposite. I'm hearing people telling me, I never saw this coming. I never thought this would happen. This is not what I had envisioned at all. So perhaps if you're feeling sad lately, maybe you're grieving part of that. For some people, that grieving has been going on or has been completed already, depending on how aware you are of these things. And you already know what your future looks like. You have like clear visions of what your future looks like. And talking about visions, those downloads that we get for those who are clairvoyant, for those who are clairaudient in all the other senses, don't you find that we are receiving like very clear information, like the clearest we've never had before? I know it's my case. Like whenever I channel, whenever I read for someone or for myself, the information I'm getting is like so clear. It feels like tangible, as opposed to before where it was clear, very clear, but there was like a layer on top of it, like some form of density. And because collectively we worked at moving and removing that density, now communication with different dimensions is a lot easier. A lot easier. It doesn't take as much preparation, doesn't take as much concentration. It just happens. So again, those timelines that we're on, either the fast one, the medium, and the slow one. I mean, in my case, I chose the fast one because that's how I work. I like when things go fast, quickly. I always make jokes that I don't understand why I was not premature as a baby, because ever since being a kid, I'm always the first one to finish something, the first one to arrive, the first one to do something. And it feels at times like I can't slow down because that's my natural pace. And now it makes sense. Ever since I channeled those timeline shift and different speed, it makes sense. Like I chose the fast track. Well, my soul did. That was not a conscious decision on my end, but my soul did. And trust me, it feels that way in my life. There's also tower moments going on for a lot of people. And again, that's only to make space in your life. So if you find yourself having to deal with difficult situations, cases, and whatnot, take it with a grain of salt. It's not to slow you down. It is just to make the proper space in your life so that you can start fresh after you've solved all these things. I know it can be like a bitch when it shows up. Like it's usually one thing after another. And it's like you can't catch your breath. You're like, okay, I'm not even done dealing with that problem, that there's another one showing up. But it's only a matter of perception. If we can only switch from problem to opportunities and see that by dealing with what feels like a problem, we're actually creating new opportunities, it makes things a lot easier. Even though it's not always a smooth ride. It can be demanding on the body and mentally demanding to deal with these things, because when we go through tower moments, we have to deal with other people or ask for help or ask for information, for knowledge from other people, and we don't always get what we want, or we get in front of someone who's not on the same timeline, who's not in the hurry to, deliver the information, and that can create tension. The secret there is to surrender to what is and taking it with a grain of salt, laughing at it, falling in love with it, and saying, you know what, I'm just being tested, and I'm going to get over this no matter what. It's not a big issue when we think about it. It's just not fun because it tends to disturb our comfort zone. If we look at it in the way that, oh, I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone, it means that there's something else coming, and you start seeing that new timeline being created in your life. It's very helpful to connect to that new timeline so that you can get used to those new vibrations. And it gets a lot easier to just surrender and let go of what needs to be let go, and to grieve in some cases. So that's it for now. You can follow me on social media at IndigoGirl555 on Instagram, IndigoGirl on Facebook. You can reach out using my email, indigogirl555@gmail.com. Thank you for being here, and until the next time, be well.